Hey guys, Wills here. Just announced for Auto Chess, a new patch is coming out May 8th at 2 a.m. Universal Time. This is 7 p.m. Pacific Time or 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The patch is expected to last for roughly 60 minutes, and during this time you may be affected by network fluctuations. Usually when this occurs, these small patches, you're able to continue playing the game, and you'll just stay on the old patch until you close down the game and reopen it. So theoretically, if you have the game open, you could play on the old patch for as long as you want until you restart your game. So keep that in mind. This patch comes with 6 adjustments, 4 buffs, and 2 nerfs. And I know what everyone's thinking. Thank God they're finally going to nerf Shamans and 4 Witcher. The 2 most obvious nerfs that need to happen right now. But in classic Drodo fashion, they've chosen to ignore the Witchers because they are in love with them for some reason. So we're going to get to all of them, but we're going to start off with the buffs. First up, we've got a buff to the Kira imprint item. They're just giving it a new attribute of HP plus 300. This means that it's not completely useless now if you don't have Kira Synergy active yet. A lot of times in the earlier mid-game, you get the Kira imprint item offered, and you want to pick it for the late game, but you can't really use it very well when it's first presented. So at least now it has plus 300 HP attached to it, so it's not completely useless. The next item getting a buff is the Mjolnir. So they're actually completely getting rid of the cooldown time of 0.5 seconds. So it can trigger as many times as you use your base attack, basically. So this will become even stronger on stuff that attacks faster than 0.5 seconds. So if you're playing like 6 Glacier, a lot of times your units will have attack speed faster than this. If you play it on something like Ember Blade, that's where it's really going to shine probably. When it's chaining all its attacks, it can trigger on all of them now. Same thing with like Red Fox with its ability. So this is a pretty big buff, and this item was already probably the best melee item in the game, so now it's even stronger. I'm not sure why they felt it needed a buff, but here we are. The next item getting a buff is Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade's cooldown is getting reduced from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. Its ability, Shadow Assault, unique passive activated when injured, doubles the bonus provided by Shadow Blade in 5 seconds. So you're basically going to get this every 15 seconds now instead of every 20 seconds, which in longer 1v1 fights, this could actually make a difference. Shadow Blade's still probably on the lower tier of choices in the epic pool. The next item getting a buff is Celestial Shield. Celestial Shield was like the strongest item in the game for a long time. They had to completely remove it, and then they brought it back, and then they nerfed it, and they nerfed its reflect percentage to 30%. I think it was, I can't remember what it was initially. I want to say it was 50%, but maybe it was 40%, what they're making it now. I honestly don't remember. So if anyone remembers what it was initially, feel free to remind us in the comments. I'd appreciate it. But this is a pretty big deal, I think. This will reflect all kinds of stuff, like it'll reflect the Scythe of Ice Penguin Hex. It'll reflect the Kindness Pendant Disarm. Dude, stop requesting. I'm trying to do a YouTube video, bro. And it'll reflect. No, I lost my train of thought. It'll reflect stuff like Sorcerer's Chain. So yeah, it might not seem like a big deal, but 30% to 40%. There'll be more times where you're like, what the heck? How come none of my stuff worked? And it's because Celestial Shield reflected it. So we'll see people probably picking it a little bit more often now. All right, let's get to the nerfs. The first nerf is going to be to 9 Assassins. So the nine assassin synergy has been pretty good lately, especially the natural version of 9 assassins with like Ember Blade. I think is really strong right now. even the 9 assassins with wizards is still pretty good. So they're just changing the ally pieces. Get 30% chance to deal 100% damage and 100% chance to deal 700% damage. That's getting reduced now to 600% damage. So right here, this 700% damage is getting reduced to 600% with the first base attack. This is, I mean, it's a pretty big nerf, especially with something like Emberblade or Red Fox in the like straight 9 assassins build. But I still think 9 assassins are in a good spot and one of the best builds to play to counter the Witcher build, especially like the straight 9 assassins. I think is one of the best counters to the Witcher build. So if you guys are annoyed or struggling against the Witcher build, definitely try the Emberblade 9 assassins still, even after this nerf, I think. The next nerf is coming to the Kira item. So this is curious, you know. We're seeing this rise in the Kira build with Siren. It's been really strong lately. And so I assume Drodo noticed how strong that build was, and so they're deciding to nerf the Kira item. Yet they're refusing to touch the 4 Witchers or the Shamans. I don't mean to keep harping on it, but come on, man. But anyway, they're reducing the amount of HP and attack you're absorbing when your Kira unit devours the pieces next to it. So instead of getting 60% of their max HP and attack, now you're only going to get 52%. I still think the Kira Siren build or like the Kira Helicopter build will be pretty solid even at 52% versus 60%. Especially now that you're also going to get the plus 300 HP effect or attribute attached to the Kira item. So I still think that build will be fine, especially because it's one of the best builds. Again, I keep mentioning it. It's one of the best builds against the 4 Witcher build. All right, that's it for the nerfs. Let's get to the adjustments. First adjustment is coming to Immortal. They're fixing an issue where Umbra was equipped with Immortal and his familiar was killed, and the effect of Immortal would not be triggered. Fixed the issue when Umbra was equipped with Immortal and it was killed by a demon at the beginning of the round, and the effect of the Immortal will not be triggered. So what happened here is probably what they mean by demon is like if something like Taboo or something was killing it and Umbra's ability wasn't proccing, then the Immortal wouldn't proc for some reason. This just seems to be a unit specific issue that they fixed. So I don't think anybody was playing Immortal on Umbra, so I'm not even sure how they found out that this was happening, but someone must have, I would imagine maybe in the lower ranked lobby, complained about it. The next adjustment is coming to 6 and 9 Feathered. The evasion rate is being reduced from 30% for 6 and 30% for 9 down to 20% for all other allies. So your feathered units will still have the 51% evasion, but your wizards or whatever else you're playing aren't going to get, like if you're playing Doom or like Thunder Spirit, stuff like that, their evasion is going to get dropped down to the 20%. I don't think this makes a huge difference because the only units you typically really need the feathered synergy to be super strong or relevant on are like your Warpwood Sage or your Shadowcrawler or your Plume Warrior. I mean, it'll make a minor difference, but I don't think it's a big deal. Kindness Pendant is getting changed from an uncommon, which is the green color, to a rare, which is the blue color. And they're changing its attribute, or they're actually giving it an attribute now. So they're giving it evasion plus 25%, which is similar to like what Mother Egg has, the evasion plus 25%. And they're giving it the unique active disarm the enemy with the highest attack for 6 seconds rather than 5 seconds. So that's a buff to its disarm attack or disarm spell time. I mean, Kindness Pendant was like by far the best uncommon item, so I understand why they felt they should put it in the rare category, but now it becomes one of the weaker rare items, I think. Maybe I'm underestimating how, with the 25% evasion tacked onto it. See, the thing is before with Kindness Pendant, you would not play it on your carry. You would just play it on a random unit on your board, maybe like your tankiest unit that wasn't carrying items, but now you almost need to put it on your carry to get the full value out of it. So I'm not sure where this will end up ranking in terms of like tier and how often you want to pick it over other items in the rare pool, but we'll have to test it and figure it out as a community. The next item getting bumped up from uncommon to rare is the Bloodthirsty Bone Chain. Instead of having ability lifesteal of plus 30% for one unit, the unit carrying the item. Excuse me guys, still getting over this sickness. Sorry if my voice is going out a little bit here. The it will now have the unique passive of giving allies within 300 yards attack lifesteal plus 15%. Honestly, I don't even know if this is good, because you really only get good value out of Bone Chain by having it on a specific unit that was like taking advantage of its ability, like Thunder Spirit or like Eclipse. I'm trying to think of what synergies or builds this might be good in. I guess it's kind of like giving your whole team lifesteal. It's kind of like giving your whole team a Warlock. I think that's the easiest thing to compare it to. So if we look at Warlock, 15% is the same as running 2 Warlock. So having Bloodthirsty Bone Chain is like a built-in 2 Warlock synergy, I suppose. The next item getting adjusted is Frantic Mask. It's getting... So since they put 2 items into the rare pool, they're deciding to drop 2 of the rare items down to the uncommon pool, just to keep the amount of items in each pool consistent with what it has been. So they're bumping Frantic Mask down to an uncommon, and they're giving it attack lifesteal reduction from 20% down to 10%, and its attack speed's getting reduced from 30% down to 20%. I still think Frantic will still serve the same purpose as always has. You put it on your sniper to disarm its ability, and also just help it with its attack speed a little bit. It'll still be good on stuff like Shadow Crawler 3-star, or like Sacred Lancer, or Berserker. The next item getting dropped down to uncommon is the Maelstrom. It's getting the same treatment as the Mjolnir, where its cooldown time is being completely removed. So it'll chain, that part of it is a buff, so it'll chain well with, again, stuff like Ember Blade or stuff in like Six Glacier that attacks super fast. The only, but it is getting its attack speed buff nerfed from 30% down to 15% to account for it dropping down to the uncommon pool. I still think Maelstrom, with the 15% attack speed buff, let's compare that to like Wooden Club. That's the same thing, right? So you're basically getting a Wooden Club that has the ability attached to it, which is the lightning, 20% chance to release a lightning bolt. Honestly, that's kind of bad. That lightning bolt that does 100 magical damage. Yeah, I think you're probably skipping. If I had to guess, I mean, there's not a lot. Honestly, the uncommon pool is pretty bad. Most of these items are pretty bad, so you might still take it if presented with some other bad options like Turret Shield, or like one of the, or like Dwarf Oath if you're not playing Hunters or Helicopter. So, but yeah, guys, that's it for the nerfs. Thank you all for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, please smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I really appreciate all your guys' support lately. You've all been super positive, and I am super appreciative of the comments and the likes and the views. So thank you guys. Hopefully in the next patch we're making an announcement and digging into how they nerfed the 6 Shaman synergy, and they're nerfing the 4 Witcher synergy. But until then, we'll have to put up with it, I guess. I'll see you guys. Make sure you guys check me out on Twitch as well. I stream every day, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern time. I'll be on there today. So we can come whine about how Drodo refuses to nerf Witchers. Alright guys, peace out. See you in my next video. Later.